Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
So,
So sorry about that break.
yeah, that's,
Little washroom break for people out there. We're just making sure why a city vehicle was cruising up and down the alley. They've got legitimate business there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the Doctor Who thing. The Doctor comes upon this place where he's with a few traveling companions, and this one's animated, I should say. Oh, and I should also say that it's from 1967, and this is the 50th anniversary. They recolored the thing, or they colored it. It was in black and white originally. And
was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying they'd put it out to the things way back when. Yeah.
No.
I don't think many people in England would have had the color back then.
So anyway, I watched both the color and the black and white version, and honestly, I like the black and white version too.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not like it. Ordinarily, you see a black and white movie and you say, "What is the point?"
Yeah.
You know, and I agree with you generally.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, why not have color if you've got it?
Yeah.
If they come up with holographic stuff, go for it. You know.
So the Doctor comes upon this place where it seems really, I don't know, there's the big face on the screen and stuff. It honestly, it seems a lot like Big Brother is watching and all that, whatever. And the people are, well, it turns out that the workers are getting subliminal messages delivered to them in their sleep, and then Doctor Who's friends are too, and they try to brainwash them while they're sleeping.
Jeez, it sounds like a management, like fantasy, eh? Wouldn't management love that?
There's a quote: "The colony enjoys hard work and happiness. We will not tolerate the evil of such strangers. And you must serve the colony. Keep watch on your friends, and if you see anything suspicious, you must report to me immediately," says, I think that was Pilot in this. And that was on episode 3. And they're singing over the intercom all the time. So they run their days by music, and everybody, "We are all happy to work," the singing says, and this and that. And the Doctor says, "Dreadful, did you hear that rhyme? The man who wrote that should be sent to the danger gang, not us." And he's not a fan of the music all the time, and I think it's kind of cute. But the gases are extremely valuable in this mine. And then there's more music. The colony is happy to obey. And episode 4, cheerleaders singing a rah 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 chant. And they clap to the beat while one of the Doctor's companions is dancing he says it's called the Highland Flea, and a Scottish style dance which he uses to escape the colony cheerleaders.
That's a pretty good pun,
cute.
because I think the original was the Highland Fling. So.
And earlier, a scientist was working for the colony, and he was concerned that the Doctor was going to cause problems because he was doing a bunch of calculations and stuff. And I don't know, I'm listening to stuff, and I don't know anything about math, so I don't know if it's legitimate calculations or not.
Oh, they say some amazing stuff that... you've got a fan there. I just want to point that out. Like front row seat. I'm
having a hard time seeing lately, so I can hear them and I can't see them a lot of the time.
Well, the branch is kind of in your way, but he or she is having a great time here. The sunshine.
It's another house sparrow.
Yeah,
the house sparrows have been coming around there lately. Usually it's just the black-capped chickadees in there, and I've been seeing a lot of other birds too. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's nice.
They sound happy right now.
Well, the sunshine, there's warmth. I'm feeling almost a little too warm. This park isn't the greatest in the world.
No, I put my hot water bottle inside because it was making me too hot.
Yeah. So I think that bird's enjoying it, maybe waiting for a few crumbs. Like the crumbs do get picked up off of here. You've noticed that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I should leave more out for them.
Yeah.
So the viewer wants to see the pilot. He's called Pilot. So he's like Pontius Pilate or something, right? I don't know. Or maybe he's a pilot. I'm not sure. I don't know. You never know with Doctor Who. And his officers, the Reds, as bad guys. The viewer also understands that the Yellows, the cheerleaders, might sound the alarm to the officers if the workers seem to be causing problems, or the Doctor and his companions. might be causing troubles for the colony. The Doctor told his companions to think for themselves early on in this series of shows, and but I say, does he really want to have them think for themselves, or really, what if they think differently from him? Would he still be interested in having them as companions with him? Honestly, I mean, I don't really know this early stuff so well. He does seem more like a Doctor, more like a Blue than the more recent Doctors that I've seen. I mean, one of them, he looked like a rugby player. And then,
You mean the guy that's always opto?
Yeah. And honestly, I mean,
rugby, that's awesome, because they get their faces all mangled up with it. Sorry about that.
That's fine. And I mean, I love I love watching Doctor Who.
Well, that new one, the little Weasley guy, he might be the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he is yellow.
But he's a yellow, and I mean, I know it, but I don't know that the viewer does. I think that watching Doctor Who, the viewership of Doctor Who tends to be people who would admire Blues, who admire inventions, scientific discoveries, science, the scientific method, whatever. But I don't know that the viewer is actually, I think they're being brainwashed by watching Doctor Who. A lot of them might get the idea that these people that they are shown as the Doctor, this is what we should expect to see in scientists, that are good guys, good guy scientists that are going to save us or whatever. They're going to have those characteristics, and they won't, because those guys, the Doctors, the people who are acting on the show, and the people, they are yellows, very much yellows. And so honestly, this Doctor, he seems more blue than any of the ones that I'm accustomed, because I watched the new series, right? But I don't know that he is. What was I going to say? The Doctor he has companions around because he needs them, frankly. He picks them out, and they follow him. He's not following them. And he may very well care for his companions in his way, but we must acknowledge the fact that he is immortal, and if he dies, it's only temporary. He'll regenerate, but his companions risk their lives every time they accompany him, and he knows that, right? Every time they're with him, they might die for real, for good, because, well, sometimes we've had some adventures where it hasn't turned out that way, but the Doctor's really an aggressive personality type disguised as a passive type, which we subconsciously want to be companions with. Most of the viewership, I think, that would watch Doctor Who would want to, would love science and would respect that sort of a Blue, or somebody who actually works with reality, like the Blues do, and comes up with creative things that will move society forward. So away from being aggressive, honestly, so that we can actually get along without being in constant danger. So the Doctor never actually saves humanity. He'll be back to play the part of their savior next week at the same time on primetime. And yeah. So as much as I love Doctor Who, I do understand that it's really a way for the BBC to brainwash viewers, which would actually want to move society in a better direction, into thinking that the people that will save them are the yellows. And so it just, in this dominant submission thing, like right now we have it where the yellows are actually thinking they might be able to take over from the Reds. There's this war between the Yellows and the Reds. And in the game of dominance and submission, Red wins. Red always inevitably wins. So if you want to change society for the better, it's not through continuing this game with dominance and submission. So if you're a Yellow and you actually want things to become peaceful in the future, well, you're going to have to go against your nature to be aggressive, and you're going to have to try to actually submit to
the will of the majority.
So now I'm going to talk more about Jeff Koons
So
here,
anarchists tend to be
I'm
yellow.
I'm not moving forward in this very well because I keep getting distracted in my thing. I'm never going to get over this because I can see that he is seeing what I'm seeing a lot of the time, and he's actually managing to profit off of it because I don't know, I can't believe that he was able to market air to so many people successfully, and I mean that's impressive on its own, but the fact that he did it while showing the reality of what the artists claim to be an art community right now, who they claim to be, he puts it right out there. And if you don't see it, I don't know why you don't. It's really obvious, and he probably expected that balloon to pop a long time ago. He probably expected somebody to say something and it to just all deflate, but it's went crazy wild successful. So I don't know. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how he's managed to pull it off to this extent. It's crazy. It's impressive. So, page 122, the Red Book. Jeff in the Position of Adam, 1990. Cicciolina wears the flower halo and much of the same lingerie, eyes closed again, red lips parted, hand cupping her own naked breast with erect nipple. Jeff wears as much makeup as she does and looks adoringly at her. Page 130, Wolfman, 1991. Image, set, full moon, and black naked tree branches in front of it. Jeff's having sex with Cicciolina, holding her up, French kissing. She wears the flower halo, white corset, white lacy thigh-high stockings, and silver shoes. His quote for this: I went through moral conflict. I could not sleep for a long time in the preparation of my new work. I had to go to the depths of my own sexuality, my own morality, to be able to remove fear, guilt, and shame from myself. All of this has been removed for the viewer, so when the viewer sees it, they are in the realm of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Now, that's what he has to sell, what he's using to sell this.
What a squawker.
But I mean, this is what artists do. And so the fact that he's saying different things and I'm looking at it and going, it's not really a lie, because this is what they advertise their work in all sorts of wild ways that, I mean, if you look at it. So,
yeah,
anyway.
you know, he's trying to make it seem like a religious icon, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Yeah, okay.
And
try that on someone else.
In a sense, I mean, he's a fan of, I kind of choked on that.
Dali.
Yeah. And who Dali really respected his wife, and he made her represent the Virgin Mary, whom he also would have really looked up to, right? And but at the same time, she may very well have been legitimately a virgin at the time, because from what I've heard of the rumors about Dali's sex life, it wasn't standard, wasn't traditional. So
he kind of stole her though from a guy called, I think it was Eloire or something like that.
Okay.
Was he so who knows?
So
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, to him, she was perfect. So for him to represent her as virgin is understandable, actually, in a way, and it's really beautiful. So Jeff Koons is showing this woman who was a a porn star, before and after, as she's wearing white. So, as a virgin bride, right? And which we very well know she's not. And that's part of the whole thing. That's part of what he's trying to say there. But at the same time, he's also making a very powerful statement about pornography and how the art community, which is not a community at all, how they have been using sex to sell their art, for a long time, forever. And Michelangelo was doing it. So they've been using sex to sell art. And here he came from this, his father was a furniture store salesman or owner or something like that. And he did some commercial art and stuff like that. And, well, Jeff Koons did some commercial art. And so he has this background. And in advertising, they use sex to sell whatever. It could be anything. Honestly, anything to sell products. He's done, there's one picture of Popples in there, which, a toy, which I think is, kids, it was popular when I was young, and I think it's really, it's a penis. Honestly, I don't think it's a kangaroo pouch. You have this thing the toy is inside its little pouch, right? And you can see its top of its head sticking out of the pouch. And then you can unroll the pouch and the toy pops out ready to play, and it's all colorful. And honestly, so he's making a statement about that too. 1937, Manet. 1991, Jeff Flick's Chicxulina split. We see her money shot, fully waxed and naked. Her expression on face is that of arousal, eyes closed, red lips open, and tongue out a bit. Her anatomy shows, however, that she is not yet aroused. She wears all white again, with pearl halo in hair. Sex out in nature on rock. Page 140. Bourgeois bust, Jeff and... How do you say that? Lana? What's his nickname for her? How do you say it?
Where's that?
It doesn't matter.
Ilona?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Is that an I or two L's?
I don't know.
Ilona is that her name?
Yeah,
what is her real name?
Guess.
Well, what is her first name?
Chicxulina.
No, but her first, well, maybe she only has one name.
I don't know.
Ilona is a good, I think it might be a Hungarian name or something like that. Okay, my suspicion is it might be Hungarian for Helena. See how that might be? The Hungarians changed a lot of names, like Gulyas is Julius. How did they get that? Or Lajos is Ludwig, or more like Louis or Louis. What is it? Esteban is Stephen. No, that one isn't too much. It's like the Spanish. Esteban in Saskatchewan is basically Stephen in Spanish. And on it goes. So it was 1991. That one's on page 140 of that red book. Yeah, Ilona?
Well, whatever. I don't know.
In English, it said Ilona. But,
okay. And I were born for each other. She is a media woman. I'm a media man. We are the contemporary Adam and Eve. I believe totally that I'm in the realm of the spiritual now with Ilana. Through our union, we're aligned once again with nature. We've become God. That's the bottom line. We've become God. So that's a quote for that.
Some more religious type imagery and stuff like that. Yeah, which is
but that's what he's using to sell it, right?
Of course. So he's using religion to sell sex, not so much sex to sell religion.
Sure,
so,
whatever.
Like he'll reverse and play around, but it's just marketeering. Sometimes marketeering kind of gets on my nerves because I'll see a sign, like a warning sign, and I don't notice it because I've kind of trained myself unconsciously to just, if I see a sign, it looks like advertising, and I just don't notice it,
Yeah. So the Popples thing's on page 98 of that, if you want to see it. I forgot to point out, and I wrote it down afterwards. In Wolfman, Jeff has hairy chest and legs, but his testicles appear to be hairless. In Manet, Jeff appears to be entirely hairless. So at some point in 1991, he did away with all of his hair, so both he and Cicciolina could have adult-sized bodies of children. So, I found that interesting. Now, that's all I wrote down about this.
Well, there you go.
Do you want to say anything about it?
About Jeff Koons or whatever? I don't know. I'm not quite as impressed with him as you are, but he really knows how to sling the hash. You know, that's.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about these days. One thing he does say is, at one point in the book, he was talking about how if I could do this, anybody can, really. You know, if
that's true.
And as far as art, I mean, you don't have to have any sort of actual artistic talent to make it in the
academic kind of thing.
Yeah, in the world of fine arts.
Fine arts, exactly. That's the best way to put it.
But so if he's talking about that much is true. I don't know.
Just got to be able to push yourself to the front, upstage everyone else, and start yammering.
And it's who you know. And
well, there's that too. Yeah.
All that.
That's the ultimate thing. You get with a clique, and you watch each other's backs, and you stab everyone else's back.
So who's going to get you into the community, and who's going to be willing to let you have some of the spotlight or whatever, right?
So what it comes down to, and this is academe generally, not just the fine arts, it comes down, and you know, I don't want to necessarily single them out, but I expect better, especially when they're public and fun. So it comes down to schmoozing, boozing, and cruising. And the cruising is like, it's not any particular, it's not just, sometimes we tend to think of it as being gay action, but for me, it means all types of sexual activity. Just people cruising for dollars, you know, like, or cruising for special favors. So most of it in academia would be heterosexual.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was this, I had read this book, it really impressed me. I can't remember the title. It was something about birth control back months ago, so you might have noticed it. I recommended the book because it shared a lot of information. The author shared a lot of information that I wasn't aware of. And one of the things that she said was, she was talking about in high school and how she really thanked her dad for teaching her responsibility for her academic career, her grades and that. But what he did is when she got a low mark in high school on something, or he made her go to the instructor and ask the instructor if she could do some sort of assignment to make up the grade. And I thought, wow, if only I'd realized you could do that back then, because I would have been on a roll the whole way.
Yeah.
Because I thought, how you're really responsible is by studying and getting the honest grade. So you don't have a makeup grade fixer or anything like that.
Yeah, especially you don't
study
have someone
even
fixing
harder
it up
for the next time,
yeah.
so that you actually get the grade that you think you deserve, rather than just make up assignments, which in academia a lot of the time are bought. So
see, that's the way to use education as even writing tests and stuff like that as a learning experience. So it's important to know where you sit with things. You don't want to define yourself in terms of where you sit at any particular time, but it kind of helps to know where you're weak. And one of the most important things is to know if you're weak overall. You got to do some extra homework. Oh, that's pretty fast there. World land speed record right in the back alley. But you know, like so I taught myself a lot of German vocabulary and maybe a little bit more just doing bunches of German crossword puzzles and other type of puzzles. I get a big German puzzle book, or many of them, like dozens of them. It's probably 100 or more that I've worked through in my life. And I can remember one time I was in a pizza place, And I was just going, this is when I was starting out. I was going back and forth, back and forth. A woman comes walking down the aisle and she goes, aha, I caught you cheating. And I'm going, yeah. And then I went like this and I showed her the cover. Look what I'm cheating on. It was German. And she's going, oh, okay. Yeah. So, I had a pretty good sense, even though I was cheating, of how much I had to cheat, And eventually what I do is I just go through and mark myself on those things. And it wasn't just marking like what percentage I get, but how fast I do it. I'd be trying to just make it automatic. Boom, 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 boom. I'd be timing it and stuff like that. Right now I do that with Agatha Christie novels. And,
In what language?
Dutch.
Okay.
So I scored a bunch of the used Dutch Agatha Christie novels, about 20 of them. And then I get the original English thing. And what I do is I go through one page.
Soon I won't be sitting on a chair.
Yeah,
It'll be a pile of twigs.
Well, I'm kind of, a little
That's
bit.
okay.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to do that.
I'm a little bit nervous about my health, that's all. Anyway, read the page and understand this is all time, right? I'll start at the top of a minute and read the page in the original Dutch. Then I've got the English there. Well, I don't go through the English. Then I go through every word to put it in English, right? But I try to make it so that it would be a fairly good translation. It's not just each word. And then what I do is I check it with the English. Boom, 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 boom. Make a correction. They have to occur with the Dutch. Then I can get almost every word. You know what I'm saying? But once I can't get what I'm going through and translating word for word, I'll just underline. I'll usually put a guess in or something like that. And then I'll read it through. Again, through the Dutch. Boom, 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 boom. And it takes a long time. It takes about, my record is 15 minutes. And nowadays I've gotten to the point where it's rare for me to be 20 minutes or over. But
so
that way there's no cheating. You know what I'm saying? It's just you putting it down and I'm timing it and then seeing how much I can get, basically. It's the same basic deal.
So with Jeff Koons, do I think his art is attractive?
No.
I don't think he does.
I kind of like that dog one, but
the one with the flowers. Yeah, I didn't talk about that one.
But it's kind of dog poop brown.
Puppy. It's. I watched a show about it. And I don't know. I think it was somebody who was caring for the puppy, because it's not an actual puppy. It's made of flowers, right? And so they have to replace the flowers like constantly because they're dying, and so it's a high maintenance puppy. It's wealthy people who would have bought this thing, and then they have somebody on the payroll to be.
That's the sad thing. It's not even them doing it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's some poor Joe or Jane gets stuck with it.
So I was kind of like, when I saw that, it kind of makes me think of James was mentioning Elizabeth Taylor, how she had dogs that she wouldn't clean up after.
She and Richard Burton.
And they'd be messing all over hotel room floors.
Yeah, and it'd be
somebody
ritzy
else
hotels.
would have to clean it up.
I think it was more than one dog. Yeah. And they'd be in for a weekend. They say they'd gain like 10 pounds each on a weekend. They'd be drinking and eating chocolate eclairs or whatever. And they should have been walking the dogs, instead of doing that sort of stuff. But they clear out of there, and they wouldn't clean up after their dogs. That's right. Come in here. What do you think you're doing? Get here and do some work. So, yeah.